one.
All right, welcome to the Wild Cannons podcast. We're cracking some can right now. In the booth today, we have myself, T. We have to my left, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. I
Jeff's-
look forward to listening to what Josh has to say.
Dude.
Our special guest.
Yeah, our special guest, Josh. We have down here. I want to say something that stands out in my mind a little about you. Front flip master. You're always smiling.
Okay.
You always have time to say hello to people. You've never been the too cool for school kind of guy. Massive
that.
force of inspiration to those around you. And it's not just me saying that, it's others. A beacon of light to what was to come in your era of snowboarding. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Happy Friday, TGIF. Let's go.
Happy Friday. Get you a little closer on the mic so we can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
We also have our producer, Brennan. Give him a shout out for everything that he does for us. And he and Josh actually have past relationships, so he might be hopping in with some questions here and there as well.
You make that sound like we
dated back in high school.
Dude, that's awesome. I didn't know you guys dated in high school.
No, we dated in community college.
All right.
I just had a big crush on him. That's basically it.
That's basically high school, right? Yeah.
It was mutual.
Oh, awesome. So the little intro there, and I guess for my first memory of you, I was trying to think of like when we first met, and I think it's because of a memory that I know of you because I knew you before you knew me. That's why I'm going to think of it.
Okay.
And this goes to, and I'm even working at Eastern. I should know the name of this, but they used to do a rail jam event, and you were there.
Yep.
And this is a time when like just doing board slides, like I was in the game, like I could handle that. And they had a couple on the side, these boxes, and I was like, 2 boxes are good. I was there with Zach Lingo. I wasn't feeling really good. I drank a lot the night before, to be completely honest. When everything was happening, I was actually sleeping in the car, and I told Zach to wake me up when everything was ready. And they had this big like battleship box.
Yep.
And I was like, ooh, I got this. This is sick. Like, I'm crushing it. And then here comes this fucking kid, like, launching. And then on the down was front flipping off to a flat landing. And there was hardly any
We were
snow.
landing in grass, kind of. There's snow-covered grass.
Yeah, there was very little snow. So it was mostly grass. And I was like,
Well,
well,
that hill is not that big either.
there's actually a really steep hill. It's right by the, like where the science building is at.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a little drop-in for a couple of years where you can get a little extra
Yeah.
speed off the scaffolding.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of cooking into it, and maybe some other people that you would know. I was trying to think. Was JD used to DJ at Blue Spark? I remember we were sharing helmets. We were drinking beers up there, and allegedly we were drinking beers on campus up there. And then I was like, I'm out. I was like, there's no way. Like, this is my first contest ever. I thought I had a chance. I made it like to the final round, and I was like, I'm just gonna stick to drinking, and my whole idea of any contest is completely over. And that was my introduction to you. And I was like, everyone called you at that time
Noodles.
Noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Curly-headed fuck.
Yeah. And you're rocking the Noodles right now. I love it.
Yeah,
Love
I threw a little lightness in there now. Got a little highlight to it. Trying to go faster.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. And that was my first memory of you. I don't know if we actually met. Like, my memory's not there. But you probably don't remember me. So
Yeah, those rail jams, they did a pretty good job coming out of just a EWU club.
Yeah.
They brought the snow, the features, the people, the crowd. I mean, Wired, I think that's where I met Josh Newmeyer.
Oh, yeah.
He was working for Wired at the time. And then he brought, I think Battalion came down the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that was a good little contest in my hometown. So that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff? How do you know Josh?
How do I know Josh? So this was a tough question for me, and I was going to ask him.
Was it the Blue Spark days?
Oh, yeah.
I did work there for a few years.
You did work there. And
Yeah.
my favorite memories or how I met you more was at Mount Spokane. You were bartending up there, and
Yep.
you're like, oh, hey, how's the snow up there? Or, you'd be closing the bar, so you had a good morning. And
Just envious of you guys every day.
well, because we're coming in covered in snow.
Yeah.
Powder. But that's I would say that's not as amazing as meeting you at the rail jams and all, but still on the mountain and
Yeah.
snowboarding and that culture and just meeting you, like we already mentioned, wonderful, like smiles, happy, like.
Oh, you can just kind of catch on to people's energy, frequency. You can kind of just feel it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, well, I felt it from you.
So did you guys date?
Not that kind of feeling.
Throwing down out here, guys.
So that's the end of our podcast.
It's already hot and heavy.
Ooh, yeah.
Probably Blue Spark. That's a good answer. So
Yeah, you guys, what? You were a few years older than me.
I'm a lot older than you.
Are you?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't guess that. I found out
Oh, you found
Jeff's
out
age last week.
Yeah.
on the mountain.
Blew
He's
my
like,
mind.
Yeah.
you did not know I was old.
Yeah. We're fucking old.
Doesn't
dude.
show.
Yeah,
So,
thanks.
you're kind
Yeah, and his writing, neither.
yeah.
Yeah.
Picking up all those boxes and moving them around.
The brown Santa. For those that aren't or that are listening and aren't watching, it refers to Jeff's job in the delivery service that he works for. They wear brown. That's why it is Brown Santa.
Anyway, back to you. Back to you, Josh. You mentioned you grew up. Where did you grow up?
Bounced around quite a few places in Spokane. Probably went to 4 or 5 different elementary schools.
But you mentioned your hometown, Cheney, or
Yep. Cheney, 4 Lakes area. Moved out there in 5th grade. Kind of changed my whole schooling. Went from C's to A's and started diving into sports a
Look
little
at
bit
the
more.
brain
like
on Josh, huh?
football, wrestling. I did a lot of Matt Maulers, a lot of competitions through wrestling and stuff like that. Yeah, baseball is a really fun sport for me, but ultimately, the coaches told me I couldn't do any of them. I had to pick snowboarding or the latter.
Yeah.
I chose snowboarding.
So would you consider, or maybe would other people consider you somewhat of a jock when you were in school?
No. I didn't really fit into. I was a floater.
There you go.
you did all the sports.
I was nice to every single one.
Oh.
Like, nice to everyone at school. Just being myself and just smiling and, yeah, just killing them with kindness every day.
Rad.
What'd you do for fun out there in 4 Lakes and Cheney when you weren't doing sports?
Raising hell.
No?
I don't know. We built a few mini ramps. Might have thrown dirt clods at cars, allegedly.
Yeah.
It could have been rocks. I don't know.
Dried.
We actually, at my buddy's house.
Right along the highway there that goes.
and
like-
big brown trucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
My buddy's house,
the
we
UPS
actually
truck.
dug down into this hillside and put the back seat of his dad's truck under this what is it, like skate door above us, where we would just launch stuff at cars, throw this top over us, and it was like
No
had
one could see
dirt
you.
and yeah, all this stuff. People were walking around the hill, couldn't find us. We're just snickering underneath this little lid.
It's like a duck blind.
Pretty much. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were little shitheads. We were just trying to kill time.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, like in small towns or just kids in general. You're trying to push limits, but until you fully grasp the understanding of how like effed up that is, it's pure mayhem and fun.
Yeah. Later down the road, you realize how much
Yeah.
you could have really taken someone off the road. Someone could have lost their life. You
But-
really start to think about those.
But I like the creativity.
I like it.
I like the hide and seek part of it.
Yeah. So after being little shits, how'd you get into snowboarding? How did you
Okay.
go into that? You mentioned a little bit downstairs.
Yep.
So I guess that's
I grew up skiing. Both parents loved skiing. So I was up on the hill, probably started when I was like 4 or 5. Until about, I'd probably say 11, 12. And then my brother kind of introduced me. He switched over. And then I switched over and never looked back.
And then,
Just kind of been on the dark side ever since.
so I didn't know, older brother?
Older brother.
Okay.
Yep, 2 years older. He kind of actually got me into skateboarding as well. So kind of learning kick flips out in the gravel out front. Before that, I rollerbladed. It was a little fruit booter.
I guess what I remember you saying downstairs when you got into snowboarding, you couldn't always go to the mountain. You went on the hills.
Yeah, so it was a little different for me. I'm starting out. I just lived on 4.5 acres, and there was a big wheat field behind us. So I hiked that numerous times throughout the day, built jumps, tried to learn how to do these tricks before I knew how to carve. And yeah, got my wheels wet and then started going to the hill, and the rest is history.
When you're growing up, who influenced you the most? Was it your brother or is there someone else?
I wish I was closer with my brother.
Yeah.
But, shoot. Probably my buddy Jared. He grew up on the same dirt road as me, the one where we had the little the duck blind for rocks.
Yeah.
When you're playing duck hunt?
He was a skier. I was a boarder, but he challenged me. Like, he really pushed me to the point where I was either fight or flight. Like, you either do this or you're going to have to hike down this cliff face, which is not going to be fun. So just jump it.
Yeah.
When you guys were out and did you have a crew or was it just a couple of you?
There was a few guys that kind of came and went. For the most part, it was probably my good buddy Jared. And then, like, I had to transition, though, like, just from Cheney, because being so far away from the hill, it's kind of hard to find wheels to get yourself to the hill and stuff. So
For sure.
we had the ski bus that used to take us from the high school that I think it was like $25. Paid for your gas.
Was that Cheney High School?
Cheney High School, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it took you up to 49 with no chaperones and just a bus driver, and we were just little hellions ripping the hill up. And I don't know how that guy crowded us all to get back on the bus.
Was $25 to get the ride up there and lift ticket and everything?
I think it was, 25, maybe. It couldn't have been more than 40 so many years
It's probably
ago.
like $20. You know, make it simple. One bill.
Right.
Yeah.
The driver's like
$5 if you want
driver's
food.
pocketing it. But you're kind of shared something like that when we were downstairs earlier. And what was there chaperones there? Like how?
No adult leadership. Like there's people that are like choking people out on the bus, passing out just to kind of get a thrill, and then you got other little like 7th graders that are kind of hooking up a little bit, like kissing here or there, sitting in the same booth, and yeah, it was just kind of a wild ride for a bunch of middle schoolers.
This makes me think of others that were out there. So Shane Miller, was that Shane?
Shane Thompson?
Jen? Or no?
Oh, Jen Miller.
Yeah, and then her brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane Davis. So her maiden name Davis.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I grew up with those guys. Yep. She was a couple years younger than me, and Shane was a few more.
Yeah.
But yeah, she
younger?
was. Yeah.
Okay,
Younger.
yeah.
She was my kind of like ride or die girlfriend that has always kind of been in that same space.
And would that have been the same bus time?
Yeah. We all kind of rode the bus together for
Yeah.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good times.
And then sorry, Shane, for messing up the last
The
name.
You can edit that out.
And then from there it was like, okay, how do I get to the hill more? So I started just trying to do some roofing for a neighbor, try to make some money to be able to buy lift tickets, started going to Mount Spokane a bit more. And then 49, moved on to Schweitzer. Started hitting jumps a lot more, started hitting rails a lot harder. And then that's when I really progressed, is moving over there on the weekends and spending all my time over there because the jumps are actually worthwhile, built right. You're not going to like end up in the ER.
Long landings.
Yeah. Not just a knuckle and a 10-foot steep afterwards
Yeah.
where you either overshoot or you hit the knuckle.
Yeah. Yeah. Blowing ACL.
When you kept progressing, moved on to Schweitzer, when did you start competing? Did you compete like just around Spokane or?
Probably right around that same time. I'd probably say 17, 18. It really kind of took off then. Then I started competing a lot more at those EW rail jams that you're talking about. I think I might have 8-peated it.
Yeah.
Won like 8 years in a row.
Yeah, I know. When I was, that's like I said, I went there and I was like, I'll be in the car.
And then we just had like all these rail jams coming through. Like Cricket Campus Rail Jam would come through. They did that at GU for a few years.
Yep.
Took gold in that one year and then went to finals with Kevin Keys, Mason Sutter
Yeah.
over to Portland. And I
Very
think
cool.
it was like, was that Pioneer Park?
Yeah, Pioneer Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had the whole rail
Yeah.
jam
And
set
then
up
all the
there,
pros
and it
there
was-
too.
Yeah, it was cool. For sure.
I'm trying to think of, it's from, because they did that event a while, and I'm trying to think of, and I'm missing on the snowboard video, but you have Travis Parker, and when he has all this football gear on, it's that same park.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Air Blaster movie?
no. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm sure listeners will leave it in the comments for you.
I'll think about it and come back. I mean, those are massive events.
Yeah.
And also, I was trying to think of the other one that came through, and that made me think of it. Was it? They used to do it like at the mall. They had the big scaffolding that they'd put up.
Yeah, I think that was like
well.
Ben Spinney, Nick Rizzuto, that crew.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot.
Sandpoint.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah, it was just rail jams were everywhere. First night rail jam downtown.
Yep.
In between
yeah.
I and B, and then they had it across the way
Yeah.
in the park for 1 year, and then they had it facing outside of AMC towards where Pig Out in the Park usually is. All
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah, so sick. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. I mean, that's awesome that you brought that up because that is definitely a history that escaped my mind because at that point I was escaping rails.
Yeah. Well, that you were like, no, rail jams are everywhere. That's where you were.
yeah, I definitely floated those. I was more into hitting the steel, and you just gotta love to jump. Yeah, I started chasing some big jumps and went down to Mammoth for a while. My buddy Chuck used to live down there, Chuck Schmidt.
Was he at Lookout? Did he do Lookout's park for a little bit?
Yeah,
when
he was doing
later,
the park over there.
Yeah, later in time. After
there
that.
and did a little sneak bonus. Just what's that called? I don't know.
Yeah, we can't think right
Special guest.
Oh,
He
yeah,
brought me out there, got me a lift ticket, and we filmed a little edit.
now. Yeah. Yeah, because they had something going for a little bit, and he had I don't know if he was there the first full year, and he was like, I'm out.
Yeah, they weren't really giving him much help,
Yeah.
so it was all pushback, unfortunately.
Dude, so awesome to hear that name. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck, he was we used to ride a bunch back in the day, me, him, Randall Seaton. He was a Silver Valley kid from Pinehurst.
Yeah.
Best frontside nines off the toes you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and his brother ripped. They were from that valley. But yeah, those were the old kind of crew, and then I started riding Schweitzer with those boys, and then the Schneider brothers came along, and Mason Sutter, one of my good best friends that I got really close to him around that time. It was community college at the Falls. Can't remember what he was going for, but I was doing graphic design, and yeah, we just hit it off, and I spent every damn weekend with those guys up at Schweitzer, him, Skylar, just jumps, rails, all of it. It was a blast.
Nice. Were you sponsored? Or did you have a sponsor?
So first sponsor was Local 77. Big, huge shout out to Jason and Kim and the fam. Those guys were always huge supporters of me and the cause. So from there, it kind of led into getting helped out a bit from Smith for a while. A little bit of Volcom, a little bit of Never Summer, LibTech. LibTech I had to pass on just because I like to kick rails and trees too much. So that sidewall just would blow out every time.
Yeah. Yeah, they still do.
And then I just would pack out with 1.5 inches of snow, and I'm like, I'm losing my edge.
Yep.
Trying to carve, and you're just washing out.
Yep.
Nice. You're one of the very first guys that, besides me, I saw riding more of a directional, like a shorter board, fat nose. And you riding with the K2 boards.
Yep.
Tell us why you like that.
Honestly, I've been trusting K2 for a good while now.
Yeah.
I was breaking probably 3 boards a winter. It was just kind of hard to keep up with, and without the help from these companies, I was just like, shoot, I don't know what to do. And then kind of started slowing down the park a little bit, but also just transitioned to a different type of riding style. More just charging powder, a lot of surfing. With those shorter swallowtails, you're no longer really pivoting off your front foot where you swing that tail left and right. You're more or less standing on that back foot and kind of surfing, swaying your hips left and right. And you can steer the trees a lot faster. It's just a lot more responsive.
No, I rode with you last weekend, and I had a blast. Just following each other and just the same kind of surfing vibe.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge riding the other way, but you know.
It is, but if Ryan was here, he'd say we can't do it. But
I love it.
I'll do a backside rodeo in front of him, and we'll see. You just got to be conscious of it to make sure you have it up a little bit.
yeah, and then the board you were riding last weekend. Well, what's your setup? I know. Well, we'll get into that too. But what's your setup that you have?
So
board,
I have
boots, bindings.
Is it the STR unions? That's what they are. STS, STR. I bought 2 pairs from a homie a couple years ago and just put them on boards, and they're kind of matching bindings, different colorway. That, and then I just have a K2 Cool Bean, which is a 144.
Yeah.
Pretty small board for how big of a guy I am. I'm not that big, but 6 foot, about 200 pounds. But 144, it does it justice. I haven't broke it yet. You know.
Yeah.
And then I have a Party Platter by K2. That's a 157. Pretty similar board, but it actually finishes the tail. But the tail's not your typical twin. It's a little shorter, so you can still kind of be aggressive on like your normal stance. And then I have a Nitro Quiver. Is that what it's called? Cannon?
The Cannon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 173. That thing's a floppy noodle.
Yeah.
Kind of like me.
That's awesome.
Like your nickname there.
Or for other things.
So that's your quiver of boards.
Joss is giving the eye over here, and he was like ready to blast off.
Oh, he's already got one in his hand?
I'm perspirating over here. I'm like already sweating. Might as well get this party started.
Brennan, you gonna blast off on this? So we just picked up a new batch, and we like to call them Wild Cannon smelling salts.
Have you ever done any of these?
I did one right before we started.
And that was your first.
I might have started crying. Definitely got my tear ducts active for sure.
When I looked you in the eyes, they were red and watering.
Yeah. I might have just done it right near my nose, though, and I just went straight into it.
That's
you ready for one already?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, let's do it.
Brennan's into.
I'm in.
Fuck me running. Next question.
All right, now we're feeling it. My nose is literally running right after that.
Hell yeah.
Your eyes. No, never get that bad.
Those are really good.
Those are fresh.
Those are fresh.
The ones that you had before must have been sitting in that box for like a container for a long time.
Hot and bothered.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
know. If you're listening, you should be watching this one.
Watch that one down.
So,
Brennan, you okay back there?
I'm good. I mean, that's different than what you've given us the last.
What are the other ones?
Last 10 episodes.
It's the Wild Cannons batch.
yeah, they're fresh.
You put them
try everything once.
You put them in the black in the big black jar, and they blast you off.
Those are no joke.
Like
No,
Brennan's
we'll
right
give you
eye is
some
just
to
leaking over there.
Yeah, I might
take
take you up
home
on
and
that. I'm drinking my tears right now. They're falling into my mouth.
Well,
So you have a good quiver of boards. I had a next question about some of those boards is
Jeff
have you
just gets right back into it. He's like, okay, yes.
I keep talking about smelling salts.
My eyes are watering. I need to start talking.
It's okay, buddy.
We'll edit that part out. Me crying.
We're all crying.
They are pretty potent. I might have to get another step.
Yeah, lingers.
Lingers.
Lingerers.
Sorry, Jeff.
Have you broken any snowboards? You already mentioned
Not
a brand that
since
you
I
can't.
switched to K2, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unless I'm breaking off one of those fins because I'm like throwing my fat ass out there and just taking this one little triangle of my tail, and trusting all my weight on that and like a little stash of powder. No, other than that, no, haven't broken anything. I'm also not jumping like 80, 100-foot jumps anymore.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think that is something to point out for those that don't know you, of riding these more directional powder style boards. Is when you first started riding them, you were hitting everything else in the, like before Zeb Powell was like Zeb Powell doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You were doing that same thing, and to me that was like for me it was like and Jeff was kind of interested in these like directional shape boards, and he was like one of the first people that I knew that was really into them, and then like we just saw you one day on it, and then but your riding style did not change. You kept doing the same stuff.
I was really trying to push myself to like learn it the same and trust my edges and trust my ability and my confidence that I could go do a back rodeo 5, land switch on it, and ride away, or do a switch nose press on a rainbow rail through the little shovel, hoping that you're not going to just like catch and reverse towel hang and be injured till next season.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of injuries, have you had any really bad injuries?
I've done my rotator cuff on both sides, my MCL and my left knee 2-3 times. Thankfully, that one heals itself. I could probably use a rotator cuff surgery, but I've both wrists probably 4 to 5 times, ankles a few times, ribs are probably the worst. I remember breaking 3 on one side, cracking 2 on the other because I went tried to gap front lip this down flat down and kicked my tail on the way over. It was the first day I got off of the cool bean back on a regular twin, and I just forgot I had that tail and just clipped it and just launched from like 12 feet back, 5 feet up, and just draped my ribs over this rail and just done.
I don't like any of that. Sounds absolutely horrible.
That was about a 6-weeker, and I've done that a couple times. So,
Yeah. And you can't laugh, you can't cough.
dude, sneezing and coughing is the worst.
Yeah, I do not like breaking my ribs either.
No, other than that, I'm still in one piece somehow, some
You
way.
look great.
Yeah, now
thanks.
you're getting into a turner and wanting to ride some powder like us.
Oh, I've been there. I've been chasing this stuff for a minute.
Yeah.
No, what's funny is we used to ride Schweitzer all the time, and just seeing some groups of kids like Schneider Brothers and a few others like Dash Camp and those younger like heads up there. They would just be in the park riding park all day long. It's dumping. There's 2.5 feet, just heyday out there. But you always found them in the park. But what's fun is years down the road, you see them just slash on the powder these days.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
I think they were just stuck in like that park mindset.
Yeah, and I don't know them personally, but just knowing like Rory enough and following them right now, I mean, they're getting to some sweet zones.
Yeah, they're sledding a lot more these
yeah,
days.
and I think we mentioned this before with Shane, but I think kind of the beauty of where we live is we have, as soon as these parks started evolving, is that we can go ride park on the young kids, are gonna go ride park when there's no powder, and then when there's powder, it's like let's hammer it out.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. We got to ride with Michael, I guess probably a month ago now, being someone that worked at the park all the time and be like watching us ride, and we got to take him up to Silver. And you're like, dude, it's so fun watching him get some hammer, some big pow turns. It's like, dude, like the kid can ride.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to be like, get out of the damn park and let's get into some of these like cool zones. And it's just cool sharing that experience with someone like that.
We're going to move on to when you were working at Mount Spokane. Mm-hmm. When did you start working at Mount Spokane?
Ooh, I would say, shoot.
Secondly, is that the only mountain you worked at?
That's a great question. Great question.
Yes.
Okay.
I moved to Colorado for one season back.
Colorado.
08, 09, I believe, or 09, 010.
Yeah.
Or 09, 10.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever, however you say that.
We're not math guys.
And I worked at an airport out of Eagle, Colorado, which I tried to get a job at the ski resort. None of them were hiring, or maybe they already did it. And me and Mason bought season passes and just said, we don't know anyone down there. We don't know what we're doing, but it's October. We're hyped. We want to go snowboard.
Go down there for the season.
Yeah, we transplanted
Nice.
and just, made our way about it. And it was a good time. Kevin Rouse was part of that party. Rest in peace, homie.
Yeah.
A couple of those guys out there for sure. And we rode Vale, Beaver Creek. Beaver Creek was the best. Breckenridge, Keystone. I kind of liked Beaver because it was just so low key.
Yeah.
Just not the crowds. What's funny is you have these magic carpets that you just ski up to, and then these old guys just ski up to it, and it just moves you along like the airport to the next lift, and then you just push 2 pushes to get on the lift. I'm like, how hard would it have been to just unstrap or just use your poles to push 5 more times? Like, how much money did it take to put that across this little walking bridge? But that place was really cool. It was definitely mind melter. The terrain, the snow.
Did you ever ride at A Basin?
No, that's one. It was a little short lived for me. I had to move back a little soon for family reasons, but that was one I really wanted to because I heard it's quite a bit like the Northwest.
Yeah,
a lot more like the tree layout and stuff like that.
We had a blast there. I mean, I've only been once, but we hit it and we had one of the most. Well, it was the best day for us. I would say I'm speaking for you, but by far the best day that we had
Down
there.
there,
Yeah.
To get back to your question, Mount Spokane, I was trying to figure out when I worked there, if it was before or after that. Mount Spokane was after. I would say it was probably 2012, 2013. Worked in the terrain park for 2 seasons with Grandpa, Lingo, and Rose and the boys.
Sup, Lingo? Yeah, and Rose. Fucking love that guy.
Well, Rose, man, that guy's a beast.
Rose. Who's older? You were.
Oh, I'm got him beat by like 6.
Oh, see, our age,
maybe even more.
The way we
maybe 6.
identify age is like none of us are right.
I think a lot of people think I'm younger just because, I don't know, the curly hair and maybe just I'm all
beauty,
bubbly all the
like-
time. And like, I don't age
happiness.
like an old man.
Oh my gosh. I'm okay. Well, I'm gonna save my comment for. I love him. I love Rose.
So
that guy is to me snowboarding.
I mean,
Smelling salts keep you young.
when I was there when he knocked his front tooth out on the red wagon. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It was wild. I pulled him in. I was supposed to guinea pig, and then he's like, "No, I got it." I'm like, "All right, I'm down." So
Yeah.
pull him in. And then next thing you know, he hops up on that ledge, drops down, just that metal, whatever it is, just aluminum, like absorbed his edge, and he just face first into the closeout, little like metal closeout, and he just ate his teeth like candy corn.
That's what it looked like. Because that
That
photo,
video footage?
yeah, I was trying to.
yeah.
Is it fit? Or
I have it on my Insta. It's like candy corn hanging down. He knocked his whole pallet off, everything.
Tough dude.
Yeah, took him immediately to Holy Family. His mom was not happy. I had to drive his dad's truck to get him there.
Okay, I feel like I'm the one who's keeping derailing this.
Derailing?
And
No.
you brought it back. So
He brought it back. He started then.
But before we get back to it, I was gonna ask
re-rack a
if
beer?
you can grab another beer.
I think both of you guys are empty.
I don't keep mine too far away.
Yours is like right next to you.
What?
You got a cooler there too?
Hey,
No.
do you want them on ice?
You want to put some on?
No.
No,
Nah.
no. The
I got
vitamin
the-
R is just fine, room temperature.
I love vitamin R,
Rainier beer.
dude.
I don't know if we're sponsored by them, but it'd be nice if we were.
It'd be nice if like we could diversify our.
We're gonna get to our sponsorships with Uprise later.
Oh, I've heard of those guys.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty cool people too.
And you want to crack some can locally?
I heard they have a really killer goza. No, they do actually.
They do.
I love that
They have
goza.
killer beer in general. Even the. I'm tangent again. Sorry, but the beer that they
Do you want one?
The beer that they make is so
I would
clean.
love one.
Like their lines are just. We don't have a goza.
We don't have a goza.
You have a goza?
No.
Oh. You hear that? That's the mountains calling.
All right, so back to our snowboard program that I'm obviously not paying attention at, but just loving this
So-
conversation.
You started in the park.
Couple years in the park.
Couple years in the park.
And then
Any
with
other
Grandpa.
jobs?
Yep. And then went to bar for 4 years.
Oh shit, you were there for 4 years?
Yep. In
Wow.
the bar, it was like me, Dave Rozier. I worked with Rozier,
Oh, dude.
my friend Angel, and then Tara McQueen, all those guys. Yeah. That was a good few years.
I know Dave, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen
don't
Dave in
know.
a hot minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seems like he's doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy shreds.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sleeper kind of shredder. I feel like someone that doesn't really talk a lot about snow, or never really talked a lot about snowboarding, but always
Oh,
up
yeah.
there. And
Same thing with skateboarding. Have you seen that guy ride a mini?
nope,
It's pretty wild.
I bet.
Yeah.
What made you go from the park to the bar? I mean,
Let's just go ahead and say the park didn't pay the bills. It was more of a passion project.
Tips.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
like, as we get to the end, you're like, park or bar?
It's like asking me if I want to wrestle or go snowboarding.
Ballet or
That's great.
Yeah,
Great question. That's
Mount
great.
Spokane was great for that. Really enjoyed my time like working up there.
But so you still got to ride. I mean, because in the park, you would work the park and you get to ride.
Yeah.
But so you moved to a
bar was a little
inside.
bit more. It sucked watching your friends come in all covered in snow, like we talked about earlier, and then just I don't know. I worked a lot that winter, but I had some bills to pay off, so it was worthwhile, or at least one of those winters. But yeah, I still got my time in. I used to make a mark where it was like 50 days. You couldn't go under that, and then getting old happened, and then responsibilities and life.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty happy if I get about 30. 30 is pretty good for me.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah. So was that also the time? Did you work at Blue Spark around that time too, or?
Blue Spark was before that.
Yeah.
I worked there pretty much like 21 to 24. So
That was just a couple years ago.
I wish it was that easy. I don't even know where the time went.
I feel like they just closed and you were just working there.
Yeah.
Well, what happened in the middle? Because now we're at People's Waffle. Is that what it is now?
I've never been there.
Me either. Yeah. It's been a few things in the time, but that was kind of just the income. And then I started working at South Prairie Pizza.
Yeah.
And really enjoying that. And then moved up to Perry Street Brewing. Those guys are awesome up there as well. So I kind of was known as the mayor of Perry for a while.
Mayor.
You were working at both at one point.
For 6 years at both, yeah. Brewery on the weekends, pizza during the week.
I remember those. That's when I loved seeing you even more. Not on the mountain.
Yeah.
And we could talk about snowboarding. Anyway.
That was after their high school relationship.
Oh, yeah.
That he loved seeing them.
Anyway.
Stop it.
Our relationship's never ending.
That's golden.
There's a pretty big age gap between our relationship.
I won't even.
We won't even put a number on that one.
No, there's no gap at all. There's
just space and time.
Anyway, back to snowboarding. No, you had some good runs at the bars and community. I don't know if I'm going to ask that last question.
Well,
You can. Go for it.
What I'd like to know is what was your transition then? Because you talked about going back to school. So I was thinking so for myself, I went to school. Soccer was my main thing, not snowboarding.
Yeah.
I'm still my love. But I took time off. So when you are going through your snowboard, out there just doing the thing, when did you go to school? What was your driving force of thinking I should go to school while I'm snowboarding? How does that piece together of yes, I'm going to be a snowboarder, but I'm also going to go to school, or maybe my parents are yes, pursue snowboarding, but do school. How's that fall
T
together?
always words it better.
Yeah, they just my parents didn't really have much, I don't know, let's say guidance in that way. They just wanted me to be me and just kind of do what I do. And I took 2 to 3 years after high school to figure out what I wanted to do. Finally decided that the Falls was the place. Graphic design is what excuse me. The Falls was the place, and graphic design was the tool I wanted to learn and dive into that world.
Was it kind of an art background that you had then? Is that what kind of pushed you? You enjoyed art? Or?
Yep. I definitely was always kind of doodling, drawing. Took a few art classes in school. But yeah, it just kind of inspired me. I'm always been a sticker kid, always been a skateboarder, slap propaganda, that type of thing. So I think it just kind of went hand in hand. And I knew Joel Barber from the Great P&W. He was a grade above me when I first started going to college. It took me about 3 years to go through the program. Normally it's 2, but I had a little family issue in the middle, so ended up walking away 1 year and then coming back and finishing.
Nice.
That's when I met Brennan.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
So I guess from there I think of so did you after you graduate, because I'm not sure the timeline in my head it's totally different than I'm sure.
So I was probably 22.
And then you still kind of snowboard. You're working in the service industry, and then you start landing some pretty awesome gigs in the design.
No, I didn't even do anything with the program in school.
Yeah.
For
Oh, wow.
8-10 years after graduating.
Yeah, so I guess my timeline's pretty close to that.
I just went into the bar scene because
Yeah.
money was quick, fast. You leave with your earned money and just you'd also just go to the bar and just blow it, and then just like, what did I just do?
Well, it's
Groundhog's Day again. Let's do it again.
Exactly. Yeah.
But during that time, I was working at Dutch Bros, Coffee, and then the Blue Spark.
Dutch Bros like slang coffee.
Yeah. Barista.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, worked there for 4.5 years. I actually got my job from streaking in a man thong through the drive-thru.
Nice.
That's how I got the job. It was kind of funny, but we were out skateboarding one night.
We'll have video of that later.
We will not have video of that.
It was called the Sly Snake. It had a rattler, and your balls go in the bottom part, and the main thing goes in the top part, and there's a tongue, and it rattles if you get close to it. It was pretty funny.
The Sly Snake.
Yeah. I actually posed with a Capita flyer for this board and binding combo that you can only get from the reps through like a what are those programs called?
Was Darcy
Proform. It was kind of a
Proforms,
Proform type thing, and I got a board and bindings, and my picture is just me laid out on a beanbag in the Sly Snake with that little like flyer just in the thing, just eating it. Yeah.
Was that in Portland?
That was up on the South Hill here in Spokane.
Oh, it's here in Spokane. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only really lived in Coeur d'Alene for 1 year, and then Colorado a year, and then been back home base ever since.
I got a little information, so I was wondering if that was gonna feed into it, but it didn't. But the
Where do you guys get your information from?
Where do we get our information?
Yeah, where do you guys get it?
The Sly Snake is.
Well, we're a little bit sly on our information.
We're all
Don't
sly.
worry.
Was that something that Mason told you? No. Oh shoot.
No, you just brought it up.
You just took that one to the house. Apparently.
Swoosh.
Slippery.
I'm a snag.
But then eventually, you do fall. I don't want to say fall back on, but you start using your education to, basically what you're doing today. And we were just even sitting here, and you're looking at some of the stuff in here, and you're like, actually, I designed that. And we were talking about another brewery, and you're like, actually, I designed that logo. And then for us, and this is where I want to give the big shout out, is that you actually created the logo that we have for our Wild Cannons, and it's not the reproduction Wu-Tang one that we're talking about. It's the purple one, and it all goes back to my very first snowboard. And if you're looking at the logo, especially if you're watching and you can see it in the background,
it's right here.
It was a purple and black board, and it was the first one that I had. And it's based off the binding of the Burton Air binding. So the air would be the black where it says podcast, and then the Burton was where the purple is. And I basically just threw this your way, and I was like, hey, I need help.
I do kind of like how I didn't mean to do this. You know how like the original was?
Yeah.
And the kind of shape went out?
Yeah.
This one that shape kind of has that Washington, Idaho, Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Kind of has
it
that
does.
PNW kind of shape to it, which kind of lends the Wild Cannons that just like the verbiage.
The Northwest.
Yeah, just like complements it for sure.
Of all of it. Yeah. Actually, I never even noticed that.
Because that's like Idaho almost. Like I didn't do that on purpose, but pat on the back, I guess.
Yeah. And also then the scratch marks from it are actually from the back of the bindings.
Yeah, scan that baby in.
Oh yeah.
So a big thank you for doing that
Of course.
for us.
Of course.
And that you have a lot of designs that are out in the world today, like literally the world. So
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
It's fun. I really enjoy releasing a little bit of that creative energy. Mm-hmm. The physical stuff, like snowboarding, skateboarding, I feel like getting older, you don't do it as much. But just getting back out there and just being in the community, even if you only take 3 runs at the hill, it just breathes life back into you. And, every time I go up, it reminds me, I'm like, get up more, get up more, get up more.
Yeah. So we did have a few sources of whatever our Sly Snakes were.
Okay.
And the first one was actually Joel, who you work for at the Great PNW. And when I reached out to him, the first thing that he said, he goes, I need to say this first. He's such a fucking awesome and talented dude. So that was the first thing that he said. And I was like, again, when I start thinking of you, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. This is a work area realm. But when I just think of you, it's kind of that same thing.
Yeah.
But he was curious, and why this connects is he was curious why, like your approach to design and how snowboarding, skateboarding, and music culture influence your work.
Yeah, I think they all correlate in a way. Just the creativeness of how you think of tricks to how you can think of a design in your head before you even manifest it onto a computer. Yeah, I think it just all works together. Music's a huge inspiration of mine. I mean, I'm diehard live music guy. Sasquatch took a lot of my 20s away from me, but
Nice.
made them worth everything that they are.
Yeah.
I formed some of the best friendships I've ever had in my life from that, like music, venue, and those weekends there.
So before I dig into this a little bit more, I know Brennan has a question for you.
Oh man, my question is, what is your favorite Chromeo song?
Ooh, you got me. Shoot. I would say So Gangsta. It's just like
I was gonna hope you're gonna say that.
yeah, that's probably the one that resonates the most.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of that fun play on like what gangsters are and then, like this just jazzy like electronic version of it. Yeah.
Little backstory to that is, so me and Josh went to community college to get design for the design program, and you introduced me to Chromeo, who's probably easily like my favorite
Hell yeah.
band now. Like, and I've seen them twice, and they're just amazing.
Outright.
And I remember Josh designing this thing. I don't even know what it was for, but it was just like "You're So Gangsta," and it sticks with me. And I was like, if he's gonna be on the podcast, I got to thank him for like introducing me to Chromeo.
Oh, yeah.
And I also got to thank you for like, I've probably ran into you a handful of times over the last like 15 years at like either the Knit, Pac Ave, somewhere else, and we'll like just talk for like an hour and I'm like, why don't we do this more? And but I always appreciate you like being able to have conversations with me, and like
it's always a pleasure
like,
seeing you.
I wouldn't
For
say
sure.
like we're friends, but like because we see each other a lot, but like we're not like very close. But like you're always such a awesome dude to like just. You're so familiar, and you're like what Joel said. You're a fucking stud, and you
Thanks,
are. I've always really, really loved telling people that I know Josh Wing. So
Yeah. There's only one speed, go.
right,
Just be yourself, and everyone else is taken. So
But it is that common theme of like, first thing is like saying, that the Joel saying is that you're awesome, and it's kind of like the same vibe. I think that, maybe like you said, the vibe maybe that you put off, or the people that you look for as well, maybe have that same magnetic, attraction, just like the way Jeff's looking at you. But going back to the Sasquatch Festival part of it, this is where so Jen Davis, but Jen Miller. She wanted to bring up some times with you.
Oh, God.
And one of it was Sasquatch Festival, and maybe why that was an important piece of your life. And the other important piece would have been Taco John.
Taco John.
I don't know, but you tell me.
Del Taco?
Sure, I don't know, whatever.
Oh, I don't know who Taco John is, but for the first start of my 30s, I'd go to Del Taco and get my birthday year in chicken soft tacos and just eat them for the next 3 days because there'd be like 30, and I did it for like 3-4 years, and then the tacos got way too outrageous. So
You would get, if you were 29, you get 29 and
they
30
remembered
and
me
then
like a
31
few years in a
years.
row. He's like, "Did you come here last year?" And I was like, "I did. You got me."
Oh my gosh.
I always went in. I didn't go through the drive-through. That'd be pretty rude.
When's your birthday? Or
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
So I'm a
So June
Gemini.
3rd, we're
going to taco.
We're going to get some tacos.
Let's go do a boat day.
Let's do it. So we have so that covers our,
right
our
after
taco
my
part of it.
Sasquatch thing.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, like there's no better place than the gorge to identify yourself with your best friends that you treat just like family. Mm-hmm. And just when you may be like going off the rails and just maybe had too much to drink, or like you're passing out and falling apart a little bit, like your friends pick up your slack. And that was just always that weekend where we just were able to let loose a little bit, but still feel comfortable around each other, that we all have each other's best interests and we're going to get home together.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that, the gorge is definitely a rite of passage.
Yep.
Sasquatch being your why I like it over other festivals is you're basically roughing it out there, and it's become more bougie. But I know the times that you're going, I mean, there wasn't like parking pads, and there wasn't places to, these awesome places to sleep.
If you're in VIP, you're not doing it right.
No.
You have to rough it in the
Did you go there more because it was your birthday? Near your birthday? Sasquatch.
Great question.
Festival.
No, I always did something
Just because.
generally at Priest Lake. It was just like the lineup, the music, just the atmosphere, just the crowd. Like there's no other festival that has really like kind of hit me like that one did. And I went like I want to say 12 years straight with the same group of guys like and girls. Like we got to a group size of like 40, 50 people coming from California,
everywhere.
Utah, Colorado, like all over.
All traveling to like.
And you're like coming in a caravan of like 15 cars, and you're like, yeah, we're part of a youth group. Like, and then so they let all the cars like follow each other. I feel bad for that one, but it happens.
I'm gonna put that one in the back pocket.
All right, we're part of a youth group.
So thanks, Jen, for that. Thanks, Joel, for the first piece of this, and then we do have a third bit, and this is from Jake Rose.
Oh, Rose himself.
Missing teeth forever. Or I guess not anymore, but
Flipper crew.
yeah, definitely.
I was part of that for a minute.
And this is, I think, the most heartfelt one. You really did spark his love for snowboarding, and it was because of your light take on life. And then he said it goes on that you were definitely that inspiration for young riders. And to me, that says volumes. Because I said before, I didn't know the age range of you guys of where that was. But I have always loved Jake's riding style. It's just been this kind of just attack. And so for him, when he provided me with that, I was like, oh shit. So
that's awesome. Like his group of friends too kind of took us on. Like we were in the in-between, I think, like me and Mason, and like Kevin Rouse and those boys that were thrown down during that time. We were in the in-between of, let's say, like this old generation and then like Rose, but we rode with those guys quite a bit, and I kind of like joined groups, like how like Riley did with those other boys. Same thing. We were like closer together in age, so yeah, it was so much fun just being an inspiration to like that, and then just watching Viz just get insane.
Yeah.
I remember when he was 10, ollied the pyramid at UTF.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never ollied that pyramid. And he did it at 10, like when he rode for Spirit way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I knew he was always going to be something huge. Same thing with Rose. Like when he got his first, like, what is it? Page in Transworld. Like,
just is that smoking?
Yeah, I was smoking when he went to Japan. Yep.
Yeah. Like, so seeing that, so I think that's when we like see that, it's like horrible, but the baton being passed, like whatever, have something cooler than that. But he definitely, laid that out there, and I was like, oh shit. So seeing that is awesome. It's the same thing for us, right? Like you're talking about old, and then Jeff and I are like, in this whole other realm, but seeing that progression is something that we do like feed on and respect. But moving from this like mushy stuff, he wants to know about the BFC, chucking meat in Colorado, and then just you riding that swallowtail. So what can you expand on the BFC?
BFC is I don't know if they're even still around, but it was a Christian organization that kind of helps people in like the sports culture of skateboarding, snowboarding, these action sports, and they did a demo in Cheney back when I was, I want to say, junior, summer before my senior year. And I kind of had a rough little go with life and stuff growing up just with my mom. Like, she had brain cancer when I was 8, lived with it for 16 years. So kind of didn't really have an outlet. That's part of the reason snowboarding really pushed me, because I feel like I had to push myself and get that grit, get that character, build my heart up. And yeah, honestly, snowboarding saved my life. BFC kind of gave me a little bit of grace. I traveled across the country doing skateboarding with those guys for a couple of years. I saw 45 out of 50 states doing skateboard demos for churches and youth groups.
Yeah.
It took a good couple of years of my life, which was amazing to spend time doing, like, just helping others, you know, just being like so selfless and living in a van, like with these sweaty skateboarders traveling across the country. Like, it was a blast.
Yeah, you got to see so much. I mean, there's a lot a lot of takeaways from that.
Yeah, what's funny about that though is like the skateboarding took me further than the snowboarding, and I felt like I was a better snowboarding athlete. But obviously, those are just pulling hairs. Yeah. But yeah, I was just thankful for it all.
Awesome. That's cool. I mean, I'm glad that he asked that because you had mentioned it either earlier in this podcast or when we were talking earlier today, and I didn't know what it was. So I'm glad that you were able to expand on that. And then the next part is like the chucking meet in Colorado. So you mentioned that you moved down there. So was that time that you're?
That was when I was in definitely the prime. Yeah, I was just kind of wrapping up a couple trips to Mammoth with my buddy Chuck. He'd pay half my gas to get down there, give me a free place to stay, give me tickets for 2 weeks. So honestly, for what, $500, I lived for 2 weeks down in Mammoth, and it's probably 120, 150 a day. So wrapping up all that, moved to Colorado, and I just got to jumping. I just love jumps. I remember one day me and Mason were up at Beaver, and there's this killer jump line, and I was working on 9s every way. The switch backside one was special, just because it's like as soon as you take off, you reach. It would be a switch.
For those that aren't watching, he's starting to think and he's moving his body in the position.
It'd be like a normal melon, but it's like a switch stale fish. But like as soon as you take off that lip and you're already on your first 180, it feels like a front summit. So you're already there. But yeah, it was just hitting some of the biggest jumps I've ever hit in my life, like 100, 120 footers. Yeah, to the knuckle. Like it was probably there was one step down at Mammoth that was.
Is Mammoth the biggest ones you've hit?
Between that and Beaver had some big ones. Yeah.
And
the showcase at Mammoth was probably like the biggest.
The pro line, like right underneath the gondola.
Yeah.
And that's the one like where when I went down there, I was getting my 9s every way. Switch backside though. There's something about it. Just that special sauce.
Never been there. Wouldn't know.
Switch backs 9s.
But back 7 as far as I went. And that was a handful of times.
Yeah. I don't know, jumping just kind of gets your bones shaking, and you just kind of like, okay, well, I'm hitting this 30-foot step down. The jump alone is like 3 stories. You don't have to go much more than 15 miles an hour into it because you drop, like knuckle is probably 40, and then you're landing like 50 feet down, going 100.
So you could probably throw down X Games 23.
Well, I tried to 180 it, and I over-rotated. It was a slow 180 too.
Slow?
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just go for back cork 7 now. Yeah,
that's crazy. And you just bounce right back.
Yeah, there's plenty of times I feel like I shouldn't have got up, but walked away somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Little guardian angel somewhere.
Spirit of a fighter.
Well, you already talked about all your broken bones. Like,
yeah.
you can just get up and do it again.
I don't
Might
get
as
it.
well.
Yeah,
Might as well.
Yeah, I don't get it.
No.
I love it.
I'm not gummy anymore, though.
None of us are. I'm kind of jumping around here, but I want to hit on 2 things. And before we get into your passions outside of snowboarding, I do need to highlight the scooter gang.
Ooh, scooter gang.
Tell us
The
about
Space Cadets?
Whatever.
Oh, shit.
So that was the gang's name.
Yeah, we were hitting the tubes and just getting tubular, just riding these little freaking Honda scooters that look like they're spaceships from late 80s, early 90s.
Oh,
Yeah, digital headlight, like flip up headlight, digital gauges, you know.
Yeah.
It's like what's that movie? Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a matching motorhome that kind of has that same look. So I'm channeling that look and like really trying to
Barf.
live in the future for
What was
sure.
Barf and what were all those guys' names from? That's Spaceballs, Jeff. But Jeff's looking at us like, what are
No,
you guys talking about?
I think I've seen your Instagram and I've seen the scooters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
So do you still have the scooter?
I do. I have a few. I have probably like 6, 7 bikes.
So
An old vintage snowmobile as well.
So you're gonna run it back? Is what was it called? Space what?
Space Cadets.
The Space
Yeah,
Cadets
we
gonna
would just get tubed, just getting it all small and cross-eyed, and then just go rip and hit these side cuts, and then you jump off this like side cut, and you land, and your like side like plastic frames would fly off in the middle of an intersection, and it's like just sliding. You're like, don't run it over, and you're just like cutting 4 lanes across trying to pick up
get
this
back.
frame. Yeah.
Those things are like from someone who rides motorcycles, and you think of like what you need to go through to ride a motorcycle, and that those whatever CCs there that you don't have to have a license to have.
I would trade that for a motorcycle any day, especially in town with the way people drive. Absolutely not. I would. I sold my big bike
Yeah.
for a boat. That's a true story. I did, because I had too many friends that got hit by cars, and I was like, I'm not trying to go out that way.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna trade that for a boat, and I got my scooters, which is awesome because you have the step through.
Yeah.
So if a car comes out in front of you, you can just step through,
can jump off.
ditch the bike. It's $1,000 or your body. So-
But also, if you're rolling with the space crew, whatever the fuck your name was,
oh yeah, we just hovered over them. Nice try, asshole.
Can't hit me.
yeah, nanu.
Not today.
So then boats, you're gonna.
And hose?
Yeah, well, yeah.
What's a boat for?
Fishing.
All right, so that gets me into the when I think of you, when Jeff thinks of you, and that would be your passion for fishing, and and maybe if you could just kind of do the same thing you did with the questions that Jeff asked you. How'd you get into fishing? And what do you like to fish maybe now?
Fishing was kind of a family thing that we did. Dad was always very avid outdoorsman, hunter fisherman, and taught me how to hunt, taught me how to fish. And
You're out by all the lakes, but is that where you fish? 4 lakes.
no, there's no fish in there. They're too alkaline.
Oh, I know there
They
isn't.
got 3 eyes, and the fish that's alive.
I know.
No, fishing is. It's definitely like.
That was good. That was really good.
That was my joke for the night.
Yeah, that was
Gosh
good.
darn it.
Dude, that was a good one.
I am surrounded by all those lakes, and there's no fish in them.
Yeah.
They try to
So
stock
anyway,
them. Yeah.
where do you go fishing?
Kind
Fishing
of-
with dynamite.
What are you fishing for?
So just kind of depends time of year and like body of water I'm going to, but ICT plenty of times when he's supping,
Yeah.
and I'm like on the Spokane, I'm
yeah.
catching red band trout.
Yeah.
Yeah, single hook barbless. Don't be throwing trebles out there, boys.
We definitely love that. So I worked with the Spokane Riverkeeper that actually is in the same building where we record in, and that was on the biggest thing was the preservation of the red band trout. So seeing that you're fishing for it, and a lot of times
I'll catch release. I just love taking care of them, and it's a beautiful fishery, and hopefully salmon will be coming through in the next 10 years.
yeah.
Yep.
So I'd be on the paddleboard. You're fishing out at that point. It's a different sort of boat, but you're out of your kayak.
Yeah, just out of the kayak. It's a little ultralight. Just catching these hogs that hit like steelhead, and yeah, no one fishes it. It's everyone that stands up or does stand up, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna keep doing this in my little secret because I mean, there's some days I'll catch 30 in a float and I'll be down there for 4 hours.
Yeah, and I won't say where we see you at.
Yeah, we'll keep that one a little bit hidden.
Yeah, but it is on the Spokane River. So
Yeah, I fish the snake a bunch for salmon, steelhead. We do sturgeon out in Kettle Falls off the Columbia.
and that's where I've seen pull some big fish out.
Yep, some walleye out of like Roosevelt, Long Lake. You don't want to eat out of Long though. But yep, just
Awesome.
kind of fishing's been. I fell out of it for a good 8 years when I really got into skateboarding and snowboarding, but it always brings you back. Just like moving away,
Is that
you always come home.
your summer like hobby, your joy?
Yeah, my outlet for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, passion.
And I think that so my grandfather was a musician by trade. I can't play music. Love music, can't play it. But my dad and stepdad and mom all love fishing. Yeah. And I always say when I get old, like I'm gonna have a rod in my hand. Like that's what I want. Like that's why
Like grumpy old men.
I was thinking more like a river runs through it. Like
I see it. All right.
Solo, like just like walking through the creek, probably gonna fall and drown.
Buddy system.
Yeah.
You don't want to fall with those waders on.
Yeah. Like
You might end up at the end of the river.
Yeah, I'll probably at the bottom. There's like this weight on that. Like I'm going straight to the bottom. I'm not making it down. But it is awesome to see you, as you mentioned. You're out in the middle of the river, and then you come across somebody that you know. I mean, that's pretty special when it's not.
I mean, it's right there downtown, and no one really utilizes it.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
so love it. Jeff, what do you have for us?
I do love it. We're just going to thank our sponsor, Uprise Brewery. Want to shout out to them. We're drinking it today.
Yeah, we are.
They're oh,
Yes, we are.
they're definitely so. Shout out to Uprise Brewery.
I love Uprise.
For supporting us. Well, you should go down there
Ryan
because
and Riley, come on now. Those are the boys.
Yeah, give Riley a big shout out for the amazing beer.
they're located in Kendall Yards. They had an amazing tap room,
Amazing tap room.
a good restaurant, great food.
What's your favorite thing that you like to eat there?
Well, Smash Burger.
Smash Burger's pretty rad.
Smash Burger is probably if anybody wants a Smash Burger in Spokane, go there. It's probably the best.
Cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So-
Anyway, it's all ages. It's a
They have that-
family atmosphere.
that cool event room upstairs.
My favorite beer is the Japanese lager. I've been drinking that. It is a lager brewed with flaked rice and pilsner malt, providing a soft mouthful with a crisp floral finish.
Ooh.
It's a mouthful.
Anyway, support our community, support our local, support Uprise Brewery because they support us.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, boys.
Uprise Brewery. This leads us into the last piece that we have our hot takes. Park or powder?
Powder all day.
Dude, the best answer.
There's no question on that one. I don't think there's any feature in the park that would keep me there over just a good 60 degree, just untouched. You just got dropped off by a freaking cat, and you're like, no friends on about it.
park, or do I want to go over there?
I'm really looking to work on my 50-50s today.
That'd be me.
You gonna work on your 50-50s?
Yeah, that's about where I'm at these days. I'm like, if I can just go straight at it, I have a good fighting chance that I'm not going to get hurt.
What sucks is I haven't had much powder this year. I've only had mashed potatoes, so
Oh,
might go up tonight. Might
nuking
go
up there
tomorrow,
tonight.
yeah.
You're going up here
Might go up
right
tonight.
after that. Yeah.
maybe.
Nice.
I gotta get the
So-
little man, and then we'll move on.
Favorite friend to ride with? And if you don't answer this right, I'm going to correct you.
Mason.
That's yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you mentioned it. Yeah.
There's
answer.
there's just some chemistry there,
Yeah.
and yeah, I've always kind of felt we just get each other. He kind of knows my next move, even though I'm controlled chaos. Like when I strap in, it's one speed go, and I might have a beer for each leg to stretch to get up to the hill, but.
Yeah.
Once I'm there, it's like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how he knows what I'm gonna do, but he always is a step ahead of me.
and how close are you guys in age? Like in that, like you guys pretty close in age too?
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as me and Jen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I reached out to him as well. So hopefully, if he's in town, I'd love to have him on as well.
Yeah. Honestly, like same thing with Randall. I know I talked to him, and I'm like, if he's ever in town from Bend, I know
Yeah.
he'd be totally down to, because he's a Pinehurst, Silver Valley kid. He knows it all.
Yeah, because his name has always been thrown around as we were Mount Spokane kids, and then we've kind of like morphed over to Silver, and people always ask if we know. And actually, I don't know him. Follow him through Instagram. We have a mutual friend with Carl Montoya, but he'd be rad as well to have
Yes,
on.
Mason as well.
But Mason,
Yeah, any of those boys.
next, let's go get some runs.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, when next time he's up in this, because he lives in Portland,
He's Hood
Oregon,
River.
Hood River. Yeah. So next time he's up here, hopefully I have him on. And then this one is not saying you're going to disclose the actual location, but where is your favorite place to fish?
Yeah, Spokane River.
Spokane River.
For
Yeah.
sure. Just because it's so convenient, so fast, so easy, in and out. I can go hop in my kayak for an hour, catch a few fish, get off, go back to work.
Is snowboarding an art, sport, or lifestyle for you?
I'm going to put all of those into play.
Yeah.
I think it's a sport.
It
I think it's a
has
lifestyle.
been for all of them.
I think it's so artistic.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were talking about earlier, just the fortitude that snowboarders and skateboarders have to just keep going for that trick until you get it. Like, just...
That's the sport of it? Or is that the...
Maybe that's just building
everything.
character. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just like putting some grit in your bones, you know? Just, it's cool to watch someone like work their ass off for something and then they get it. And it could have been
It is a lifestyle.
10 times going to that spot to try to get that one
Yep.
little trick, or it could be like you just sat there and did 20 tries and you finally got it.
Yeah.
Dude, good on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all of them.
But I think it's all, yeah. The beautiful thing is the creative side of it, the art. Like, no one sees it the same. Also, once you're in either one of those little cultures, when you're driving, you just look over and you're like,
Oh my God.
that hill to hill, like the snowboarder on the side of the car is doing the power line. Like, it's hard to look at the world any different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even to me, it's like before there was Tony Hawk, like pro skater. Basically, my mind was doing the same thing.
I thought I was going to grow out of it.
Yeah,
it's still
you
there. Yeah.
And what I think is fun now, because like I'll find places and I send them to Viz and like Jack Powell. I'm like, hey, did you guys see this? And they're like, yeah, they're like,
We already hit that.
we already know that about that spot. But it's like always on the forefront of my.
Right.
I can't do it, but if someone young cat,
I do the same. Can
do
send
it.
some stuff to Viz here or there.
yeah,
You know, when you're in those smallest towns of like, not Wallace, what's the one right past Wallace? There's like a pretty
Which way?
gnarly rail.
Burke.
Towards Montana.
after.
What's it called? Yeah. Oh, shoot. We went and filmed some stuff.
Like
for
Burke,
K&W
yeah,
there.
Burke and
No, there's another little tinier, like...
whatever it is. But I mean, things of that sort. But like, I think that's again where that's like that lifestyle. Like, we want to continue. Like, you've been doing that. You're passing it down.
Yeah.
Of being that inspiration of like, hey, this might not be for me, but this is part of our culture, and hopefully, like maybe even this podcast is something will inspire someone to do something of that sort.
I mean, it's all about community, and what you guys are doing here alone is definitely. I know plenty of people listen. It's awesome that you guys are just raising awareness to just the cool, cool community we have.
I've heard this more when I'm up at the mountain and I have an orange beanie on, and they're like, "Wild Cannon," and they're lifties and they're workers, and they're like, "I listened to your podcast," and then I'm instantly like, "You need a sticker." Like,
Yeah.
this is, and then it is.
Well, you
And we
stoked your
mentioned
day,
it.
and you stoked his
And
day to
we-
give him a sticker for sure.
Like, we mentioned about community, and
Yeah.
I love that you just mentioned that. And that's why we're doing it.
yeah.
Like you said, so
Yes.
it hits on in all different avenues. You hit all three avenues at different times of your life and maybe where you're at. So going from a serious question, I think it's a serious question.
Back to hot takes.
Back to a hot take is favorite person to party with.
Oh God.
Jeff and I both grabbed for our beer. we're gonna be.
He's not going to say Jeff and T.
Let's see. What's this thing do?
Dude, you can grab me one too. I want to play.
Favorite person to party with. What makes you think I party?
Well, you did say you went to Sasquatch for like 75 years.
Oh, I hit a high score every year.
Ready Player One. Ready? Who got the high score? We're looking for the Josh Wing to come back
Wing.
for year 74, going into 75. Did you wear one of the tail things though?
Did you
Like
wear
the
the
animal
snake
tail,
thing?
like
Is that like that? Like a
the sly snake?
anal bead that you put in there and it has a tail attached? No.
I don't know.
No
You tell
butt
me.
stuff out here, man. No butt
Oh.
stuff.
Okay.
There's already plenty of holes.
So your Sasquatch costumes are well hidden.
I feel like this is a Louis Vito.
So
like,
back to who's your
who's
favorite?
person to party with?
Fucking myself, baby.
All right. Great answer.
Yes,
Great. Well,
that is the right
favorite
answer.
person to party with? My self.
Gosh, that's a tough one.
And
It's
then
hard
I'm
to
gonna,
say.
and then I'm gonna put a little side note. Got the high score. All right, cool.
High score at Sasquatch every year.
Honestly, it's hard to put it to one.
Yeah.
It's just like the same thing, the community of friends that I have, like the just ability we have to always like pick up each other's slack in public settings like that. And when you're learning to be responsible, Still nice to be responsible.
Because when you're taking care of your friends, I mean, those are the people that you want to party with.
Oh, we had a safe space at Sasquatch. Like, you always had the speaker up on the hill, like 8 trees up, line up with the speaker. If you ever lose anyone or if you're ever getting a little too loose, go hang out there and someone would find you and then, help you either like, get your shit together.
but isn't that amazing when you're
and
like...
you'd walk out together, with him standing up, whether it's arms around you or not, but you'd figure it out.
That straight wild cannon style. It's like, all right, everything's mean at the lodge at 4.
Yep.
You get lost in whatever's going on.
You get lost.
Whatever happens.
I might be at the lodge at 2, but I'll see you there at 4. So back to hot takes.
Our hot takes should be called slow takes.
Yeah, slow. Slow. Favorite music genre and favorite artist? So you went to a lot of music
Genre
festivals.
is tough just because I'm so scattered. Just depends on the day, but I want to say home base is probably...
I'm not familiar with that genre.
I mean, indie...
I'm going to mark that down as home base. I don't know, it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Indie electronic kind of, I would say. Like Future Islands is a huge one for me.
Okay.
I've never really fanned out for a band, but if I were to fan out, that would probably be one. I've seen them a handful of times, but then you go to like Charles Bradley, like, and you're looking at this like soul and this funk and Leon Bridges, and it's
Leon
Bridges.
Leon.
I'm all over the map, and now I'm like find myself listening to country more, like living back out in Four Lakes and on the dirt road. It's like bringing me home, old country roads. Take me home.
I can't look.
All right.
Quit looking at me in the eye when you say all right. All right. What pro has the best style? So, and I guess we could preface this. Maybe you'd say, who has the best style, like maybe when you're growing up, and who has the best style now?
Growing up, best style? Ooh, I always loved Louis Fountain. Louis Fountain was, also someone close to our area, and just his roots that he had with like K2 and stuff like that.
Idaho.
Moscow area.
Robot Food was actually the movie that I was thinking about. I just hijacked you. Robot Food was what I was thinking because Louis Fountain made me think of it. It was Robot Food, Travis Barker, white football kit.
So that was probably
Portland.
what it was, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
I'd say that.
Dude, I love Louis Fountain.
UC Oxenden, Eddie Wall. Just really liked the way those guys were like just fun out there.
Yeah.
Just
Eddie, super. Actually,
enjoying, like, just having fun.
You remind me a lot of Eddie Wall.
Yeah.
That's where I took a lot of inspiration for sure.
Because of a lot of the pros that I've been able to hang out with, he's the one that I've hung out with the most. Super positive, always inviting, and just down to earth. And
oh yeah, well that's good to hear because
that's
right. He was one of my favorites for sure.
Yep. Then, what is the whack trend in snowboarding for you?
Wear a fucking jacket. I mean, I used to wear tall tees and baggy pants, but still, you gotta have a jacket.
Okay, so this is super funny because I was thinking the same thing this morning when I was driving to work, and I was like, "Yeah, Jason Klein said the same thing. I'm pretty sure he said something like that. Wear a fucking jacket." And I'm like, "I've been the same thing." And I was like, before the rope tow, when you idiots would hike that park. I'm saying you did.
Right.
Not idiots.
That's a reason
like,
to lose your jacket.
But I was
you're in your hoodie.
I get super fucking hot just like walking from the parking lot to the lodge.
Oh, it's a workout in itself.
Yeah. So
but if a hoodie that's like, what's your hoodie? 16 pounds?
16 pounds. It's a new one that we just got through work, and it's something that we can source, but 16 ounces.
Yeah. It's a heavy.
So I was like, if you're hiking, like I kind of get it. And even if you're lapping, like when I was thinking, like I don't know how fast Mount Spokane's rope tow is, but like at Mission, like I mean, if you're burning some laps, like I could.
You have to have rubber gloves.
And I never thought I would say this, but I kind of understand it.
Leather.
Leather or like work gloves.
You gotta have something.
I kind of understand it, but I love your take on that.
Yeah. All right.
And then
wear a jacket.
What's greatest of all time?
The GOAT?
The GOAT. The Michael Jordan.
Like who?
Who? Yeah.
Fucking Viz. Team Viz over here.
Team Viz.
No, I mean I would say yes on this new level.
Yeah.
But if you're like look at
Today.
back all the legacy of everything.
So yeah, put 3 people out there. So you say maybe that the GOAT when maybe you're like
New school GOAT is Viz on any steel.
Yeah.
And Johnson, every step down, step
Yeah.
up. Like that guy's an animal. You look
Stupid
back. I mean, T Rice has done so much for the sport and just the way you look at it and the ability, like with the natural selection and all that's amazing just to see that broadcasted these days. Because before, I mean, it was so hard
Great
to even
point.
get street
Great
or
point.
slow style into any of the, Olympics or,
Yeah.
having our own sport, the X Games, platform.
Yep.
But yeah, being recognized actually as a sport is really nice these days.
So it's 6. So some of the Mount Spokane boys are down. We're at Woodward, and you had Grenier down there riding,
Okay.
and he was filming, which I love, T. Ricky in the park hitting park jumps, and I was like, "How
Who's that?
sick is that?" Travis Rice.
Okay.
So you, have,
Yeah.
Never heard him called T Ricky.
you don't listen to the Bombhole.
I don't listen to podcasts. Other than yours guys'.
Thank you so much for listening.
You're
to
welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to us. And we have
Why
one.
would I not?
We have a couple closeout questions, but the last
How
one.
many podcasts have you listened to? Wild Cannons.
3?
Oh.
I dove in this week.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
'Cause
good.
last weekend he
I
was
told
like,
you.
I haven't listened to any, but I'm.
I know,
going
but I
to."
told you I'd dive in a little bit just to know what I was getting my feet
Right,
wet.
so the last hot
Appreciate
take
it.
question is: if your life was a snowboard movie, what would the title be?
Jawsome.
Dude, that is the best. Love it. Yeah, cheers to
Sneak up from underneath the snow and just grab your ankles and pull you down. Or I could just jump over you like a
Jocelyn,
All
like,
right,
like,
Sharknado.
like a slice snake.
All right, that's the title of this podcast for sure.
Jawsome.
And with that, Josh, thank you so much. We've been trying to figure out a time that we can meet with you. So we would like to ask 2 things. What's next for you and any shout outs?
Next, honestly, just taking care of home base. Mental is a big thing. I felt a big kind of weight over the last couple of years from mental health, and paying attention to that, number one, is been important to me, and also getting back on my board and just being in the environment has helped out a lot. And yeah, other than that, what's new? Frig, man, taking over the world.
Dude, let's do it.
One slash
Yeah.
at a time. Just, if you don't like what I have to say, I'm just going to jump over you.
That's Jossum.
Little method, a little slap to the tickle.
A little slap tickle, it's all Jossum.
Yeah.
And yeah, shout outs. Shit, man. There's plenty.
Everyone.
All the sponsors, all the support I've had over the years, all the friends I've gained, all the friends I've lost. I just love it all. Josh at Pistol did a lot of things for me. Jason at Local did a lot of things for me, and I can't thank those guys enough.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I just like to hide in the shadows. You'll see me pop out of the woods occasionally.
We got you out of the shadow for a little bit.
Yeah, so thank you again so much
Always, guys. Thank you so much.
for coming in. Dude,
Fuck yeah.
such a fun episode.
Oh, yeah, boys. Woo! Smelly salt to celebrate.
Smelling salt to celebrate.
Celebration, smelling salt.
Brandon's like-
Brandon, you want another one?
He's like, I'm just smelling the old one.
Ooh, we got a little look. Chrissy on that guy.
They are bright. They're bright.
Those are hotter than,
All right.
than before.
Thank you, Josh.
Those are hotter than hot chip.